The parishioners of St Mark's Church, inspired by the work of the Connell family, believed that forming a football club would do something to alleviate conditions within their local community. As the team professional, moving to their first permanent home, Hyde Road. 7 years later, in 1894, led by Joshua Palby, the members of Ardwick AFC came together to establish a new club. This was to be a club for the people of Manchester. After 10 years, the team won their first trophy, the 1904 FA Cup, and returned home to a parade through the city, the likes of which had never been seen before. The anticipation and excitement was palpable. The streets were filled with thousands of people, young and old, from every background, all of them there together to catch a glimpse of their heroes. The citizens had arrived. In 1923, Manchester City moved to a new stadium at Main Road. It would prove to be a catalyst for future success. Regularly challenging for league and cup titles and playing in front of record crowds, loyal support from fans helped to propel the team to victory in the 1934 FA Cup. And 3 years later, in 1937, the club secured their first league championship win. The Second World War and its immediate aftermath were testing times for Mancunians. Manchester City welcomed former German paratrooper and prisoner of war Bert Trautmann to the club. Bert became a major hero in post-war Manchester, demonstrating a desire to build bridges.
It's the cup final, the greatest match of them all. Manchester kick-off. Trautmann's down, he's injured, but the crowd can see his neck is hurting badly. Trautmann's game as ever. Injured or not, he's determined to pull his weight.
But over the next 10 years, Manchester City struggled on the pitch. With the arrival of Joe Mercer in July 1965, Manchester City would embark on a period of unprecedented success. In 1968, the club were crowned league champions again, and followed this with 2 further domestic trophies in the FA Cup and League Cup. During this time, under the management of Joe Mercer and assistant Malcolm Allison, the club also secured its first European trophy, the Cup Winners' Cup. Manchester City continued to compete in the league and cup competitions throughout the 1970s, but as the club moved into the next decade, it fell on harder times, suffering a shock relegation in 1983. Support from the club's fans didn't waver. They continued to be as passionate as they had always been. Young local players were developed within the club's youth system. City in the community, the club's foundation, was launched, and shortly after this a new women's team was established. All of this, and a yellow banana craze that swept through the stadium, demonstrated the unwavering spirit of the club and its fans.
Manchester City find themselves facing the worst day in their history.
Towards the end of the 90s, the club reached its lowest point.
Manchester City are going down.
But this club, just like this city, is built on resilience. From disappointment would come regeneration and desire. In 2002, people came to Manchester from across the world for the Commonwealth Games, a chance for the city to shine and rediscover the pulse that made it great. The city was changing, new developments, new industries were fueling regeneration. Manchester was back, and it was quite a show. After 80 years, it was time to say farewell to Main Road and move to a new home that would go on to become known as the Etihad Stadium, a moment to reflect on a lifetime in football. The seeds of change had been planted, and in 2008, new investment came to the club. Abu Dhabi United Group saw in us a partner. After 44 years, we witnessed a moment in history, the likes of which we may never see again. And following their relaunch in 2014, Success for our women's team quickly followed, with victory in the FA WSL Continental Cup. The path we had travelled, our heart and soul. Together we build for the future, for the players, for the fans, and for the community.
To understand is over there to my right, to your left, you can see the floodlights on the stand roof at the City Youngsters. There's lots of fun and games and competitions going on here as well, leading right through to the kick-off itself. So it builds the atmosphere and it helps the flow of traffic as well, because people arrive here a little bit earlier, so we don't get the traffic problems before the game as well. Okay, so any questions so far? Oh, one last thing I will mention to you, and that is, I think I mentioned the cost of the academy was about £200 million. We do own that academy now, but this site here, the Etihad Stadium itself, we rent it from Manchester City Council. We pay a rent of about £4.5 million a year to the council, okay? And that money is all ring-fenced by the council and is all devoted to sports opportunities for children in the Greater Manchester area. So it's quite a noble cause, and it's something that Manchester City are very proud to be contributing to. That's good driving, isn't it? I'm impressed with that. Wish I could reverse my car like that.
That's the away bus.
Yeah, yeah. So the away coach, it will come underground. It will end up at the bottom of our service tunnel, just actually very close to the corner flag in the main stand. And what they then have to do is get off the coach, walk through a very dark and dimly lit corridor for about 40 or 50 yards to the other side of the stadium, walk out towards the pitch, back round and up into the away team dressing room. Now, during all the time that they're here, nobody speaks to them. We all ignore them, you know, so we're trying to make them feel quite small, okay? That's the idea behind it. It's what we call the tradesman's entrance, right? It's the entrance where our dustbins are. So our dustbin men actually go down there and collect the bins from down there as well. All right, so it's not the best experience you could imagine for the away team, but it's all part of what we call home advantage, or psychology, if you like. And there's a bit more psychology that we'll tell you about as we get inside the stadium. I'll tell you a little bit more about the stadium itself. As you know from the film, the stadium was originally built for the Commonwealth Games in 2002. Now, as you know, the Commonwealth Games, obviously, this was the athletics arena, okay? So does anyone want to have a guess as to where the running track was? Anyone got any ideas where the running track for the Commonwealth Games was in 2002? Shall I tell you? It's immediately above our heads. Okay? In other words, where Jim sat now is at ground level. Okay? And at ground level was actually where the running track was and the central pitch. So if you look, above our heads is a black advertising board going all the way around the stadium. On the far side, you can see where it says Etihad Stadium. That's actually ground level. An extra 10,000 seats at this level. So the capacity for the Commonwealth Games was 38,000. It suddenly became 48,000 when it was a football stadium conversion. But the biggest advantage is that if you look carefully, the front row of seats all the way round is right up to the touchline. So it meant that when we had a 48,000 crowd here, it was a fantastic atmosphere. West Ham United are playing all their home games now at the Olympic Stadium in London, and it's not quite the same because they've still got to keep the running track. So the fans are a lot further away from the action, and therefore it's a lot harder to actually follow the football, but also, importantly, the atmosphere isn't quite as good as it is here. The atmosphere last night for the Paris Saint-Germain game was absolutely incredible. How many of you were here for the game last night? Quite a lot of you. So what did you think of it? It was terrific, wasn't it? Absolutely brilliant atmosphere. Sell-out crowd, fantastic performance, two great teams, probably three of the greatest footballers ever to walk the planet. Edison, Cancelo. In August 2003. About 6 or 7 years ago, we were able to add another tier to the south stand. So if you look across, you see where it says Etihad Stadium. Just above the Etihad Stadium, there's another 7,000 seats there, which brought capacity to about 55,000. Although we have lost some seats in the summer because we've had new advertising boards put in all around the ground. We've got now 2 levels of advertising board. So Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, not bad players, were they? Didn't play that well last night, I didn't think, but there you go. Yeah, all right. The room in which Paris Saint-Germain players changed last night. Okay. If you think it looks very clean and smart and neat and tidy, you're absolutely right. Our cleaners do a first-class job.
They'll have been doing it last night.
They'll have been working through the night to clean it ready for all of you guys coming round. So sockets, they've all got USB ports. They've all got boxes under the seats for the boots and the shin pads and sliders. And next door we've got showers, toilets, mirrors. We've even got hair dryers for the players. Okay, so we're looking after them, I think. I like to say. So it is a 5-star approved UEFA dressing room. We provide them with a television here as well that they usually link up with a laptop so that they can go through technical routines as necessary. What we're not allowed to do anymore is to provide food for them, so they have to bring their own food, okay, and any other equipment that they want. Next door they've got access to a medical room, although that, because of COVID, has become an extension to the dressing room in recent years. And as you can see from the blue spots around the dressing room, there's only a certain number of players allowed to get changed in here because of the 2-metre distancing rule. So the other players actually have been getting changed in what was the medical room, and the medical room has gone into an overflow. This is actually the current temporary medical area for the visiting team. So the Paris Saint-Germain players will have been on these beds last night. This is where the players, before the game, they get their pre-match rubs, their massages. Different, isn't it? A little bit different. Okay, so how is it different? Well, first and foremost, it's circular. It actually means that Pep Guardiola, our manager, can stand here and he knows he's got access to seeing all the players. They're all equidistant from him, so there's no favouritism getting in for 5 minutes. Okay. The reason for that, it sounds a bit painful. Believe you me, for a man my age, I wouldn't do it. But anyway, 14 degrees Celsius, 5 minutes in the cold bath. It's all about removing the buildup of lactic acid in the body. It's also about helping to repair the bruises and the sprains that you might get during the game. At this time of year, Manchester City are playing midweek, weekend, midweek, weekend quite regularly. So it means that speed of recovery is vitally important. It's important because the next game is in 3 or 4 days' time. Okay? So speed of recovery is the most essential thing for us. Now, when the players arrive in here, what happens is their shirts are hanging. If the shirts are hanging, that's a good sign. It means they're in the squad for the game. Okay? If the shirt's not hanging, they're not in the squad. Okay? And on their seat, there will be a bundle. The bundle of kit will be another shirt, shorts, socks, underwear, Under Armour, towel, training kit. And then in the boxes underneath the seats, will be their choice of match boots, training shoes, and sliders. Okay, now sliders are important because, of course, footballers' living is based around their feet. It's vital they don't get foot infections. Okay, so they will have to wear sliders, particularly when they're walking through into the wet areas, because the last thing we want them to get is an infection from a colleague. Okay, because a foot infection can mean they miss 1 or possibly more games as well. Okay, now, the arrival, obviously they put the training kit on first. They'll go into the gymnasium that we've just been in to begin with. They'll then come back in here, put the full kits on, and they'll go out onto the pitch for the first time to do a more rigorous warm-up with the coaching staff. They then come back in here for the last talk about the game, and they'll go out on the referee's buzzer, which is up here, the same as the away team dressing room. Okay. Half time comes, the players will come in here. They will then be looking to re-energise. Our nutritionist will be advising them. Bear in mind that the players, do you remember I said at the academy, they will have eaten about 3.5 hours before the game. So 3.5 hours is quite a long time. Then you've got another 45 minutes to get to half time. Quite a long time. They do need re-energising, quite a lot of them. On the side here where Jim's standing, there's quite a few energy bars, energy gels and drinks. That's the sort of thing that the nutritionist will tell them to be getting at half time. The players do have a bit of time to themselves in here, however, because Pep Guardiola, our manager, will be talking next door to the performance analysts for about 3 or 4 minutes of the half-time break, because what they'll be doing, they'll have put together a series of, a compilation of video clips, if you like, from the first half, about how City are playing, what we're doing well, what maybe the opposition are doing well to combat the way that City want to play. So he'll be looking at that, he'll be studying what's going on from the performance analyst. He'll then come in here and pass on the messages to all the players about what maybe needs to be tweaked in the second half. And we've had quite a few good, solid second half performances, as we had last night, of course, as well. All right. The great thing, we talk about Pep Guardiola, you know, and the great thing about Pep Guardiola, many of you may not know this, but he's just gone over 200 games that he's been manager for Manchester City. I think it's about 212, 213 games, something like that. And do you know, of those games, his winning average is 3 in every 4 games. Think about that. 3 in every 4 games he wins. Incredible statistic. Absolutely incredible. We'll decide when the players are going to go down the tunnel. Now, before we go down the tunnel to pitch side, I just want to explain to you that what we have here is a glass tunnel, okay? So you can actually see the restaurant through, because at the moment, it's just like a glass window, okay? Now, on a match day, when the players are ready to go down the tunnel, what we do is we raise the lights in the tunnel and we dim the lights in the restaurant. It has the effect of making the glass like a mirror for the players, okay? But the people in the restaurant on the other side, it's still the same see-through glass as far as they're concerned, so they can see the players going down. What I will say is we are going to go into a very large blue area where you'll be able to take lots of pictures there, but please don't go on anything that's green, okay? In other words, the grass and the artificial surface around the edge. Don't go on there, otherwise I will be shot, Jim will be shot, we'll be sacrificed, won't we, Jim? All right. So, you've got a job to do. Tell your teammates what you're expecting.
Right, lads, it's only PSG.
Lead on. Go on. All the way. Come on then. Don't forget to look at the bar on your left. And we've had 5,600 rail seats installed. People to stand up at football grounds for the first time in the Premier League. Manchester United have also got some rail seats themselves. They've also been approved as a pilot scheme. So 5,600 people at that end of the ground will be officially allowed to stand up at the game. Quite funny, because I watched the game last night and everybody was stood up watching the game anyway. But they're not supposed to be stood up, they're supposed to be sat down. Okay.
Where's the away end?
The away end, the Paris Saint-Germain fans were in sections. You see 3-1-2 and 3-1-3, and then come down a level 2-1-3, 2-1-4,
okay,
and then the 2 blocks underneath.
Right.
They were in those 3 sections last night. About 3,000 fans in total. So that's what we give as a maximum, except for cup time goals, okay? Now this is what's called a Sisgrass pitch. It is absolutely amazing. Plastic fibre under that pitch holding it all together. And what it's doing is protecting the roots of the grass. So the roots of the grass will never become uprooted. You'll never get, you know when you're watching golfers hit a shot, they take a divot, what they call a divot, that's the whole grass with the root. That doesn't happen here. The top of the grass might get taken off, but the root stays firm, and we have roots that we put on here with heat and light that make sure that the grass continues growing during the pitch to keep the pitch at a standard temperature. So for example, imagine it's July, the sun's beating down, it's burning the grass, what do? We can run some cool air underneath the surface of the pitch to keep it cool. In the winter, in February, it might be snowing, it might be -3 degrees. We can pump hot air under the pitch to make sure that the snow and ice doesn't gather. Incredible system. What's even better about it is that the water, we get a lot of rainfall here in Manchester, the water that gathers we will collect in the drains at the side of the pitch. We'll store them in the service tunnel, in tanks in the service tunnel, and recycle the water when we need to water the pitch as well. So it's an absolutely incredible system, it really is. Okay, so now...
To innovate. A club that looks to do things differently. A club that seeks new ways to support our community and engage with our fans. We've played our part in regenerating, rebuilding and breathing new life into our corner of East Manchester with the development of the world-leading City Football Academy. We've applied new ideas and fresh thinking, setting a benchmark for a modern training facility that brings football to all. Passionate believers in youth, we're providing a pathway for boys and girls to follow their dreams, using our know-how, enabling them to play beautiful football from the earliest years in the game. We've led the way in Women's League football, based on a parity approach. With their own stadium, dedicated staff and facilities, our women's team is setting new standards of professionalism and achievement. Our club foundation, City in the Community, is connecting with more people than ever before, finding new ways to make an impact through its inclusive programmes. And it's not just here in Manchester. We're forging deeper connections across the globe too, using the power of football to change lives and bring our fans closer to the club they love. An innovative spirit and our belief in thinking and doing things differently has led to the growth of City Football Group and a new family of clubs, all seeking to play the same beautiful football, connecting our citizens across the globe. As we look forward and embark on the next chapter at Manchester City, we do so with passion, desire and a renewed commitment to ensuring that our football club is one that continues to go further for everyone, everywhere. We haven't seen it all yet.